Well, here we are, Monday, start of a new week, and already today's news is beating the weekend's news. We just can't have a normal day, a normal weekend, or even a normal week, not even in Canada, but also just around the world. Today we're taking a look at something that Donald Trump said about Justin Trudeau and his biological father on a recent podcast, elevated tensions in the Middle East, and Canada's biggest concern, immigration. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video, everybody. Before we get into it, I do want to encourage everyone to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It does really help grow the channel. Sorry, once again, this should be the last video where I am not on camera. I am still away with my family, but I'll be returning back very, very soon. I look forward to seeing everybody in the coming days later on this week. Now, let's just jump into it here. So, our first story is breaking. Israeli intelligence estimates that Hezbollah and Iran will launch attacks within the next few hours. And this has happened, actually. This has already happened. Now, Iran hasn't really done anything. Everything that's happened has been Hezbollah, and the Iron Dome somehow malfunctioned. We don't know what really caused it. It's very, very weird. But nonetheless, the Hezbollah did successfully launch a series of missiles and hit Israel. So we're going to have to wait and see how this really changes over this next week. But it has increased tensions in America, because they've hurried up and put the pedal to the metal on getting their SS Lincoln destroyer, as well as another submarine that has nuclear weapons over to the Middle East. And come on, let's go, boys. Get over there as fast as you can is pretty much what America has said. So seems like if anything's going to happen, it's going to be in the coming days, not even weeks, but in the coming days. So stay tuned for that. In other very super serious news, we have Costco has announced that they're going to be replacing membership, or they're going to be placing membership scanners at the entrance of each door of its locations. So there you go, folks. They're firing staff, getting rid of people that are employed at the front checking IDs, and they're replacing them with robot. So the great replacement of robot technology is already beginning. Next up, we've lost somebody to the woke mind virus. Amanda Bynes, who was once a very popular actress, a very popular person in America, now has transitioned into this. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but one is very disturbing, and the other one looks like a happy, healthy individual. Next up, we have Toronto condo renters aren't paying their rent. This person here hasn't paid $41,000 in rent, and the owner apparently can't evict them. This is nuts. Let's take a look at this article.
On the 32nd floor of this Etobicoke condo building, a tenant is way behind on her rent.
As of date today, the rent alone amounts to $41,600. and about $5,200 and a change in utilities.
Narinder Singh says he's been trying for 4 years to get the tenant out after the female tenant started making fewer and fewer monthly payments.
She pulled up a lame excuse not to pay, and I tried approaching her. She will not answer, called in the police for harassing her.
No family should have to go through this.
That tenant is Dika Raffle, interviewed by Global News in 2013 after the death of her sister. She didn't respond to our phone calls, emails, text messages, and a personal visit to the condo seeking comment. The apartment where she's living was intended to provide retirement income for Singh and his wife.
Me and my wife have worked decades off to save penny by penny to save for our old age.
But he says the backlogged and inefficient landlord-tenant board has given people like his tenant an unfair advantage.
The still system lets her to be there. It's completely, excuse my language, it's the rape of the law.
You can get away with it, like not paying rent for a year now.
In May, we showed a similar situation unfolding in Brampton, where a couple was owed more than $22,000 in back rent. A man and his partner refusing to pay rent after being asked to move out because the family wanted to move back in. Money didn't appear to be the issue. The tenant has a new truck and owns a trucking company. It sounds like you know the system.
Of course. Why I don't know? It's normal. I have to know.
Oh, yeah, the system is working for him.
And it's working against me.
Earlier this week, Singh finally got the order he wanted from the Landlord and Tenant Board, an order that the tenant must move out if she doesn't pay. But she's entitled to appeal, and an eviction could still take months.
I am aware of the housing crisis in the country, but if the people are here to abuse the law, go find your own thing. I'm not here to help you.
And of course, in the city of Toronto, there's a desperate need for rental accommodation. In that Brampton case, they're back before the Landlord and Tenant Board next week. An eviction could still be weeks or months away.
There you go, folks. The system is broken in so many different ways. And some people down in the comments have some funny things to say. Holy shit, you mean paying rent is optional? I feel like such a fool. And it's crazy. It's crazy. And this other comment here saying investing has risks. I mean, it absolutely does. But ever since the coup happened, a lot of laws were put in place to not be able to evict people as easily as possible. So just be careful. Anyone who has the ability to purchase themselves a rental property, just be very, very careful of what you are getting yourself into. Next up, we have Welcome to Canada, where only one of these things is a crime. You have people that are seemingly terrorist sympathizers standing in front of Parliament holding a Palestinian flag, blocking their faces, standing on an Israeli flag. You might not be able to see it when I zoom in like that. You can see they're standing on an Israeli flag, and that is not a crime. That absolutely makes total sense, and that's allowed and actually supported by the government. Jagmeet Singh from the NDP supports this. He stands in solidarity with Palestinian protesters, especially the Gays for Palestine. He loves that group. And then you have this right here, driving a vehicle, a truck, over a pride crosswalk is a crime. Leaving skid marks on it is a crime. Very, very weird, but that is the state of Canada. The top comment here says, make it make sense, please. And that is pretty much how a lot of Canadians are really feeling right now. Next up, we have a woman who's being escorted, protected by 4 police officers at the recent Montreal protest. Let's take a look at this footage here. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Not to make things too controversial, but there's a lot of controversy between, supporting Palestine, supporting Gaza, or even supporting Israel. Let me know what you guys think down below. My mind is not set in stone on who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. Look, I know Hamas has done obviously horrible things. They're listed as a terrorist entity. I don't support Hamas at all. I do think that there's a lot of innocent lives that are being, that are falling victim to this war, and I just don't think that Canada should be getting involved at all to the capacity that we have been. I think that that's fairly disgusting on its own. Speaking of discussing, you have Pride Parade in Montreal, and it's being met with counter-protesters. They did get blocked by pro-Palestine protesters, which is kind of crazy. So you got pro-Palestine met with Pride, and even though there's a lot of gays for Palestine, the gays don't get to complete their parades because, and you saw this in Toronto, it got shut down prematurely due to the pro-Palestine protests that took place. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments about that. Next up, we're taking a look at Donald Trump and Justin Trudeau. So this is going to be very interesting because the American election is coming up very, very soon in the coming months. And Justin Trudeau is still Prime Minister of Canada. And it seems like Donald Trump will be the next president of the United States. And they don't have a good relationship at all. I mean, Justin Trudeau is a coward. He's been very vocal about his takes on Donald Trump. He doesn't respect Donald Trump. He thinks that what happened on January 6th was an insurrection. He thinks that Donald Trump is the worst person ever. And Donald Trump doesn't really care about Justin Trudeau. I mean, mean, Donald Trump says that Justin Trudeau is Fidel Castro's son, which has been a conspiracy for quite some time here in Canada, and a lot of people that are on the inside that know what's up can agree that there seems to be a very large resemblance. Let's take a look at this footage here of a very recent podcast that Aiden Ross, popular Kick streamer, did, where he had Donald Trump on. And I mean, this is absolutely insane. It broke the internet. Maybe you've seen this clip, maybe you haven't, but nonetheless, let's take a look.
Next.
Yeah, he's turned very liberal, actually. They say he's the son of Fidel Castro, and could be. I mean, anything's possible in this world, you know? You're going to learn as you get older. You've seen a lot already for your age. Per age, I would say. Per year spent, you've seen as much as anybody. But Justin Trudeau is, I get along with him very well, actually.
Gets along with Justin Trudeau very well. I mean, sure, Donald Trump might get along with him, but it doesn't seem like Justin Trudeau gets along with Donald Trump very well. And there was this photo here that circulated online for quite some time. It gathered almost 250,000 views, maybe more by now by the time this video is posted. This is a Kingston man that apparently got arrested for throwing paint on a statue of Fidel Castro that was recently dedicated in Ottawa. Now, there was a lot of skepticism. As you can see, there wasn't really a lot of likes in comparison to the views, and there was certainly a tremendous amount of comments. Now, as funny as this is, it's not true. When you Google it, when you Google Fidel Castro statue in Ottawa, the only thing that comes up is that one tweet. So I'm not going to say that's misinformation and disinformation, but at the same time, I can't find anywhere where there is a Fidel Castro statue in Ottawa. So do with that information as you will. Next up, we're going to take a look at immigration in Canada, which seems to be breaking this country and tearing us apart. Look, I grew up. My values growing up around immigration are it's fine. You're exposed to different cultures, and they all come together in Canada, and there's a lot of value in, certain amount of multiculturalism that happens in Canada. That's the Canada I grew up in, and I've never really had a difficult time with that concept. And then when I was raised, in high school, I went to high school in Toronto, and I got exposed to a whole whack of different cultures, right? All my friends were brown. They were all Indian, from Bangladesh, yada, yada. I went to a high school with maybe around 2,000 people, and 80 of us, 79 other kids, were white. And that was a demographic for one of the high schools that I went to. And I mean, there was nothing inherently wrong with that, right? But now, the problem with what is going on now, and the media is going to tell you you're racist, maybe friends and family are going to tell you you're racist, the government is absolutely going to tell you you're racist. If you question what's going on with immigration, you look around in your towns and your nearby cities, you drive on the road, you look at what's going on, and you're just seeing a rise in immigration, and people are questioning it. They're going, what the hell is going on? Why do we have so many immigrants here in Canada? And this is kind of the flaw here in Canada, where there's these immigration loopholes. A lot of people are coming here on permanent residency on working visas, and they're just staying here. They're staying here to get jobs, and maybe they don't want to go back, and the government just isn't deporting them, or whatever it is. But there's a massive loophole right now, and it doesn't help that the Liberal government is saying, look, we need more people in Canada. We need to increase our population so that we have a bigger, more badass economy. And that isn't really working. And what really doesn't work is when you incentivize things like this, where foreigners interested in becoming police officers will soon be able to immigrate to Alberta to become permanent residents. And this is just absolutely insane. I don't know personally many people that agree with this. Look, immigration has historically in Canada been to fill low-skilled jobs when there is a shortage, right? Doesn't matter. I could list a bunch right now now, but it doesn't really matter, right? The biggest one would be, let's just say off the top of my head, telecommunications, right? And you have a massive void in those positions in Canada. And so then the Canadian government says, okay, we have maybe 20,000 positions that we can fill for the entire year or for half of the year. Let's fill those positions. Let's bring people in to fill these jobs that Canadian citizens don't want. But that hasn't been the approach. And anyone, normies, are realizing this now. People that don't necessarily watch political videos are realizing that there is a massive immigration issue. And it doesn't help when you have videos like this surface online that just get hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views, where you hit, for example, Brampton, Ontario. I mean, it's also known as, I've seen terms for it being called Little India and Browntown, Ontario, and whatever it is you want to call it, but it seems like every week, and it's almost becoming every day now, where there are, I mean, groups, tens of hundreds, if not thousands of people that are gathering in these massive parking lots, and they're just having either big fights or slap fights or these massive gatherings and leaving the ground like it's a rave, like after a concert. It's disgusting. It's not how Canada has ever really been. And here's a little secret, folks. Chances are you haven't seen this anywhere, and I saved it for the end of the video for the true subscribers, the true supporters. Even RBC, folks, one of Canada's biggest banks, says it's a growing problem. How to align Canada's immigration with the future economy. This is right on This is right from RBC. I can't believe this. Immigration in Canada has accounted for all the growth in the labor force for well over a decade, but it's still not enough to significantly offset the impact of an aging demographic or substantially reduce the structural shortages in the jobs market. A big reason for this is that the skill sets that many immigrants bring to Canada and the study fields of international students do not match well with the anticipated long-term structural needs of the economy. This impairs the prospects for newcomers and, more broadly, the economy. So a lot of immigrants are filling positions that they didn't normally fill, and it's kind of messing things up. That's really what they're trying to say. Right now, the immigration system may be focusing too much on the labor market's short-term demands, filling holes in sectors where low-skilled occupations have been experiencing acute shortages since the pandemic. And this is why we are really seeing these types of graphs explode in Canada. This Prime Minister is out of control, ladies and gentlemen. He is just opening the floodgates, and you have normal people that are noticing this. It's just visually. You don't even have to look at the news. Block out what I'm saying. Block out what the news is saying. Block out what you see on social media, and just open your eyes and look around, and then think back to how life was 10 years ago. There is a visual difference. And look, that doesn't mean that you're racist for acknowledging this. Now, everybody's going to try and tell you that you are, but that is actually very incorrect. Those are buzzwords that they throw around in order to try and gaslight people into thinking that you need to go along with their narrative, which is allow everybody and anybody in as much or as little as other people in other countries want, and we should just put up with it. Look, I get it. I get why people would want to come to Canada. 10 years ago, hell, even 6 or 7 years ago, right before the pandemic, life in Canada was pretty darn good. We had things pretty freaking good here. The cost of living was a little bit maybe on the high end, but I think a lot of people would do a lot of things to just have what we had 6 years ago as a reality today. But that's just not the case, and chances are we're never going to see that version of Canada. But we can get close. We can get close with the right leadership, and it seems like the only party right now that's running with any sort of momentum that can fix this is the Conservative government, is Pierre Poilievre. So we're going to have to wait and see how this turns out. But as we approach the end of the video, I would love to know what you guys think down below in the comments. Have you noticed any significant difference in immigration, or do you not see immigration. Do not see colors. Let me know what you guys think down below. All right, that's where we're going to end this video. On your way out, I would like to encourage you guys to smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't yet already, and do not worry, ladies and gentlemen, I will be back very, very soon, probably in the next video on this channel with my regular setup in my regular place, and I will be back on camera. Peace and love, everybody. I will see you then. Bye for now.